Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. Hello and welcome to WrestleRamble. This is Luke Owen, I'm Ollie Davis, and today we're going to be reviewing this week's episodes of Raw and Smackdown, including many SummerSlam matches made, Braun Strowman throwing a chair at Roman Reigns' face, and a great Canadian crowd, and deciding which show was better. If you want to go to any of those discussion topics, click the timestamps in the video description below, or stick right here where we're going to tell you to subscribe to this on iTunes or other podcast providers that aren't Google Play or Spotify.
Podcast
we're not
catchers,
there.
I believe they're called.
Oh, are they?
I believe so, yeah.
Well, cool. Any of those, you can enjoy us listening without YouTube. You don't have to be on YouTube to enjoy the ramble.
Exactly, because we were at one point the 38th most popular sports podcast.
Yeah.
We are now the 148th most popular sports podcast, so...
That's impressive to drop that many spaces. I'm almost impressed. Like a whole wheel of cheese for someone to devour that.
Absolutely, but not only that, but Bruce Pritchard's dropped along with us, so we're still gunning for Brother Love. We're still coming for him.
How many spaces are we off, Brother Love?
I think about 10 or so.
We're coming for you, Pritchard!
We're coming for you.
It's we still haven't quite figured out how the iTunes chart works.
I don't think anyone knows how the iTunes charts works. Even the boffins at iTunes probably don't know how the iTunes charts works.
I believe the correct term is Genius Eye. You have Apple geniuses, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, I thought
you said boffins.
Yeah, no, sorry, I thought it was a Google thing, that you were a Google genius. But that's right, you're an Apple genius,
You're at the Genius Bar.
Yes, that's right.
Where they're all there, really quite smug. Yeah. And hey, oh, do you like Apple products? They're amazing. Have you ever? There's a store in the UK, if you don't know it, American listeners, called Lush. And that is for nice smelling organic bath stuff.
It is a smelly shop.
Yeah, you can smell it down the street.
Oh, a good country mile away.
As soon as you walk in, someone will pounce on you, usually a early 20-something woman with dyed hair and a piercing on her nose.
Sometimes with a bit shaved in there.
Yes, they'll jump on you and say, "Oh my God, have you smelt this lemon fresh bath bomb?" I'll go, "Oh man, I'm just here to collect my It's Raining Men shower gel." And she, "No, you've got to try all these new things." And they love it.
I've not been into a Lush shop in many a year. My ex-lady partner used to love Lush. So I used to go in there every Christmas to go and get something from there, something smelly. Easy present to buy, because you can buy like the crates of stuff, and it's just like a random assortment of bath bombs, shower stuff, Watsits, all this sort of stuff. Not actual Watsits. Doesn't come with like a free pack of Quavers.
But grind them into your skin.
Cheesy, powdery goodness.
Exfoliating crisps.
Do you like Watsits?
Yeah, I like Watsits.
I do not like Watsits.
Why not?
I find Watsits to be possibly the worst of all crisps.
Watsits in America are like cheesy puffs.
Cheetos.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
we don't get
thing.
Cheetos over here anymore. We used to back in the day, because I remember like the cats, but we don't get Cheetos anymore. But yeah, Watsits are like, they're just getting stuck to your fingers. They're just like powdery cheese. Like,
licking off the stuff at the end.
It's just gross. It's really sickening.
Do you want to hear something really gross then?
Oh yeah.
Because I have a preferred way to eat my Watsits or hula hoops.
Oh, okay. Well, hula hoops I'm down for.
Yeah. Who isn't? Who
isn't down for a hula hoop?
So Watsits, when I was a kid, I found if you start eating them and you don't swallow, you get the immense urge to just swallow it all down. But if you don't, this is going to be taken out of context, just that sentence, I think. But if you eat an entire bag of Watsits and manage to keep all the Watsit mush that you have emulsified in your mouth, and you wait till once it's all in there, then you swallow, it's almost orgasmic levels of pleasure.
The most intense cheesy flavour in the world.
Well, it's like, because I just want to swallow it now, but I'm not. This is too weird a conversation. I think this can be.
I got a great message from my friend yesterday, in fact, saying that I've just sat down, I've made my tea, my dinner. If you're an American listener or viewer, I made my tea, and I sat down to watch the WrestleRamble. By the time I'd finished, you were still talking about buttonholes. You didn't even talk about wrestling whatsoever.
Bit of rambling. The Groom World Order
Too sweet.
Boom. We should probably talk about the Wonder Ollie reveal, actually.
Oh, I suppose we should.
Because the Monday's one, which came after the reveal on Saturday, we had recorded in advance because you were away on Monday.
Talking about buttonholes.
So this is the first post Wonder Ollie one.
I mean, you've really taken to Wonder Ollie and embracing the fact that it's been revealed out there. I saw you wearing it on the Raw review momentarily. On today's the news that went up today.
Smackdown, it's on. The news that goes up today.
News went on today. I think you've really taken to it. In fact, you even said, because when after the reveal had come out, you said it was like, well, I may as well bring the costume into the studio. It may as well live here now, and it feels like it's starting to become a part of you once again.
No. It's a prop, isn't it? It's just there. And, maybe it makes me feel really good when I have it on, but that's by the by. I'm just doing it I'm doing it to service the script or the gags Wonder Ollie's behind me.
Is that why you were wearing it while we were editing earlier?
No. Well, I was just trying to get in the mood for the jokes.
Yeah.
It's method editing.
I was watching Slamboree 2000, and I turn around and you're there messing up with your tiara, make sure it's all fine. Just doing a couple of poses.
We've got WWE stuff to review, so let's get to it.
I
just said let's get to it.
I know, but I showed it to my lady partner, and she just looked at me and said, "What am I watching?"
A remarkably succinct 6 minutes of rambling there.
Excellent.
We really reined that in because quite a few people on Monday's episode, which was one of my personal all-time favourites.
It's legit my favourite episode we've ever done.
Because we just didn't talk about wrestling, really. We just jibber-jabbered back and forth. Some people didn't like that. And they wanted us to talk about wrestling more.
Understandably, this is a wrestling YouTube channel / this is a wrestling video podcast.
Yeah.
So you would expect people want to hear us talk about wrestling, but sometimes people just like to hear about you and I in general terms.
Exactly. Like this, for our Raw reviews, the first time ever, we've got my notes on my laptop. But what's this right here, Luke?
I thought I'm going to take my own notes this week.
This is a level of preparation I have never seen from you before.
I was watching Raw and I was like, do you know what? I don't ever take notes while watching this. And I just try and remember things. And then we come around to doing the ramble and I'm like, oh man, I can't remember anything that happened on this show. I hope your notes are good. So I thought, do you know what? I'm going to make my own notes this week because hopefully that can trigger things that I wanted to say, wanted to bring up. So here we go. I mean, for example, my first note I've got here, Brock and Miz TV - great segment in all caps.
That's all you've got written for that.
So that's all I need to know.
Have you read my notes?
No.
So recap this segment for me.
I'm going to be going off your Raw review.
I'm going to close my laptop so you can't even see that.
So Miz came out and he announced that Jason Jordan was going to have a match with Hennig's kids, Curtis Axel, later on in the show, and he asked for Jason Jordan to come out to the ring. Kurt Angle's music hit instead, and he goes, I've actually got a much better guest for you to come out on here. Here's Bork Lesberg. Bork Lesberg comes out. I, once again, making my cup of tea and breakfast, had to run in because I was expecting a boring 20-minute promo, especially when Miz was there as well.
It was a nice surprise, Brock coming out like that.
An excellent surprise.
And because it was such a hot crowd in Bizarro Town, Canada.
Yeah, Bizarro World, yeah.
Yeah, Bizarro, did I say town?
Yeah.
It's a little bit inside Bizarro World. Everyone went crazy for it. It was a hero's reaction.
I do love... Bizarro World is my favourite WWE-ism because it's only ever used when it's stuff that they don't want. So, when Bailey's getting booed, it's Bizarro World. They just do whatever they want here in Canada. Brock Lesnar gets cheered. They're like, nah, that's fine. That's the reaction we want.
So, it's fine when they go with the segments.
Yeah, exactly. But otherwise, it's like, oh god, these Canadians are so weird, booing their baby faces and cheering their heels. No, they just boo and cheer people that they like.
For people who don't know what this Bizarro World lineage comes from, Bizarro is a Superman character. He's a bad villain. And the idea is he comes from a world where everything is the opposite, isn't it?
Yeah, opposite day.
Opposite day, yeah. And that's why the Bizarro World thing is used in WWE because it's the opposite to what WWE want. So Vince McMahon tells the commentators, apparently, whenever there's a reaction that goes against the grain of the booking, like booing Roman Reigns, For instance, if it's anywhere outside of America, if it's in America, it's a divisive reaction.
Yeah.
If it's outside of America, we're in Bizarro world. What the hell's going on here, Michael Cole
If
says?
my memory serves, it was a term that was coined by Jerry the King Lawler. Because he's a huge comic book fan,
course, yeah.
and a comic book artist in his own right. So I think when they used to go to Canada and Bret Hart was cheered like a conquering hero, he used to be like, "It's like Bizarro world here, JR." And then they sort of adopted that phrase. It's like Wile E. Coyote Cam. He also coined that term for like the top-down camera that's usually on ladder matches. I don't think they do that much these days. But yeah, it's just really funny. It's like I've mentioned that Royal Rumble documentary where they showed the backstage shenanigans after Roman Reigns was booed, winning, and you got Michael Hayes sitting there going like, "We can't book for just one town. We're a global company." And then I'm watching it going like, "Yeah, but he's booed in every town." Michael Hayes, he's booed in every town because you're a global company.
It's a pretty objective thing.
It's a universal thing.
Yeah.
But when you're in Canada, it's like Bizarro world here, isn't it? These wacky Canadians just cheer and boo and do all sorts of things.
As Dave Meltzer pointed out on the Wrestling Observer radio review of Raw, he said, it's always... oh no, I've lost my point. I had it. It's gone. Where was it? It was about so you have towns that are ahead of the curve and towns that are behind the curve. And typically Canadians are ahead of the curve because they're a smart crowd. Because WWE don't run shows as much in Canada, it's more of a big deal. So all of the mega fans will go to those several dates in Toronto or Montreal or wherever it is. Same in the UK. We only get like two Raws a year in London or Liverpool or Manchester, and all of the really the biggest smart fans will go to those shows, and that's why you get such raucous crowds who seem to chime in more with the internet community.
Yeah.
So
apart from that last Raw taping in the UK where the crowd were dead throughout
because we were just bored. We were a part of it. So yeah, that's why Canada was such a good crowd. Like they really helped the shows, the quality of the shows.
Didn't they just?
But it does mean that the flip side of having a really good crowd that's into your product means you're going to get a vocal reaction against the bad booking decisions that you're making, like Bayley getting booed on this show, Jason Jordan getting booed on this show, disinterest in the Nia Jax stuff. So yeah, that's... But do you want to finish off what happened with Miz TV?
Segment. So then, Bork Lesnar comes down with Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman talks about role play, and he says we're going to do a bit of role play here. So, Bo, you're Samoa Joe, or Samoa Bo, as you brilliantly coined in the
Samoa Bo.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I substituted one word that sounded like another one.
But it was genius. No one on the Raw commentary team thought to do it, so you're ahead of the curve. As in, just like Canada fans are ahead of Americans, you are ahead of the WWE commentary world.
Next week, hopefully, Bo Dallas comes out with like the towel round his neck, full Samoa Joe gimmick.
And if they're going to do it, he has to come out to Samoa Joe's old music.
Oh, the sexy 70s porn music.
Yeah.
I've just come out of the shower. Dum.
Anyway, and Curtis Axel was, I believe, Braun Strowman.
Because he's got a beard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then The Miz was Roman Reigns, because people boo him. And Brock Lesnar just started suplexing people, and it was glorious. I cannot fathom how anyone can't like Brock Lesnar. Like, when I see comments, people are like, I just hate Brock Lesnar so much. He's never there. I hate that he's Universal Champion. I never want Brock to leave. And I don't want Brock to be on the TV every week. I just want him to show up every now and again and just start suplexing people because it's so much fun. He's the best.
Yeah, he's not without criticism because when he's not interested in a feud, Dean Ambrose last year, it's no good at all.
No.
But when he is invested in a feud and he's allowed to tell these stories over 6 or 7 months, like with Goldberg, that was thrilling television.
So good.
And it was only... one of the great things about NXT is not everyone is featured every week. Same with Ring of Honor TV, because they've only got an hour. WWE can't do that because they've got 3 hours to fill. The only way their hand is forced for that, if you've got someone who's bigger than the company itself, which really is the way that competitive sports organizations should build their stars. You want the stars bigger than the brand itself because that will give you more money. Because Lesnar can say, I'm only working these dates this year, they have to really treat his the dates he does show up as really special. So yeah,
Well,
I agree. But at the same time, I do get why people are annoyed with Lesnar.
I thought this was a great segment.
It was a good segment to open the show.
Yep.
The next thing was Sheamus beating Seth Rollins very quickly with a roll-up.
Distraction roll-up.
Distraction roll-up, which not just distraction roll-ups, I'm sick of roll-ups because it doesn't do anything for anyone. It just keeps everyone at that level,
Yeah.
that flat level, not the Neville level.
No,
that's
which is
way,
way
up
up
there.
here.
Oh wow, that is.
Brock is on the
undefeatable.
Neville level.
No one's on the Neville level. Imagine a cruiser. That could be a big feature match for a B pay-per-view. Neville versus Brock Lesnar.
Oh, I would
Cruiserweight
love to
versus
I
Universal.
would love to see that match. That match would be so much fun.
It'd
That'd
be
brilliant.
Best pre-show match of all time, I think.
I think that'd be the best main event because you got like the quickness of Neville just like running around him, doing loads of flip-de-doos and that, while Brock Lesnar's trying to like swat. It's like King Kong up on top of the Empire State Building trying to swat away all the airplanes. Oh, that'd be. I want that match.
Yeah,
that'd
I didn't
be
know. I won
awesome.
it until just then.
Yeah, totally.
Of course, it would have to be a special attraction exhibition match. You can't have Brock walking around with the Cruiserweight title.
Oh yeah, no, it'd be
No way,
Oh, that'd be
limits.
so good. Or Neville challenging for the Universal Championship.
Yeah, just as a one. Yeah, maybe he could sacrifice. He could trade in his Cruiserweight title for
Bit like the
in the
X
eventual face turn. Yeah,
Yeah, a bit like the
It's
X
I want a
Division
shot at
Championship.
that.
That's it.
That is pretty cool.
And that'd be a way to because a lot of people want Neville to transition away from the cruiserweights because it's a death spot and Neville's so much better than being in the death spot. So perhaps that would be a way to take him out of that division.
Hey,
And slot him back in with the mid-carders.
well, hopefully. But anyway, roll-ups don't do anybody any good because the guy getting the roll-up, it kind of looks like a fluky win. So it's not like a dominant win where hey, he's really good. And the guy getting pinned isn't like fully beaten either because it's a fluke. It's like a fluky finish. So no one gets over. And it was only a 5-minute match.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, God. But then I realised it's actually playing into a larger story. So my criticism is actually withheld because it did serve a larger thing here. Cesaro and Sheamus started beating down Seth Rollins after Sheamus got the victory. And the whole idea was they kept looking up the entrance ramp, waiting for Ambrose to run down like he had last week, and he didn't. And Rollins was getting beaten up, and that was so important for what happened later in the show.
I have written here in my notes, another great chapter in this story. And also
Ooh.
made the note that Dean is still over.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
It's been so we want Ambrose. Like, people were super into the idea of Dean coming down. And when he didn't, boos. Great. Perfect. Awesome storytelling. Thumbs up, WWE.
You can see the motivations of all the characters involved
so
and relate
good.
to them.
Lovely
Really top
stuff.
stuff. Not as top stuff
No.
was Jason Jordan Angle.
Yeah.
And his second match on Raw. So this is, I think we're 4 weeks in, but it could be 3 of the. So there was the
3,
reveal, then there was the Miz TV segment, then there was the match against the guy.
I think actually it was Kurt Hawkins, then the Miz TV segment, and then
Yes,
this one.
yeah, you're right.
So
yeah,
4
that.
weeks, yeah.
So 4 weeks. This was his 4th week into the illegitimate son reveal storyline.
His
And-
music is still bad.
Yeah, and Curtis Axel, of course, was taken out by Brock Lesnar. Even if he got just a suplex and an F5, to still be selling his injuries.
Oh, but that's not. I think that's, yeah.
I agree, that's great. I just wish there was a consistency where everyone did that.
Yeah.
Because most people would just show up later on. Braun Strowman's an exception.
Yeah,
He
well, I
can
was
get-
going to say, Brawny the Strowman can get away with
Yeah,
it.
he can come back. I watched the Austin McMahon Part 1 documentary on the network at the weekend. I was just,
Interesting.
just flicking around,
Yeah.
and I saw it on. And it was, what was the one where Austin was he was driven out in the ambulance and everything. It was like, well, that's it. He's not here. And then he comes back later on and he starts beating everyone up. I should have really remembered the
gonna
story
say.
properly, but it was great.
Was
It's
it a
great
pay-per-view?
I can't remember now.
Oh, mate.
I'm sure it's a seminal angle and everyone's going to go
Someone
crazy.
will mention it in the comments or tweet it as.
So Curtis Axel is down
be nice when you do
backstage. Curtis Axel is down backstage, and he's like, "Oh no, who can I get to fight Jason Jordan, my son? Because it's not like there's loads of other people who haven't got stuff to do tonight. Oh, here's someone, literally someone he's never seen before.
We've never seen before.
just a local a local wrestler who is in his kit, because you got to always bring your kit.
He was prepared for any eventuality. That's a very good local sports entertainer.
It's like that dream you have, isn't it, where you're just sitting there watching and like, oh no, I need someone to be my tag team partner. Hey, you there? Me? Really? Yes, we win the titles. I've had that dream. So he picks a guy who's just warming up backstage called Jean-Pierre Goulet.
I'm so glad you wrote it down, because in my notes I've written Jordan beats Jobber.
Yeah, which was what the Canadian crowd chanted.
Let's go Jobber.
Let's go Jobber.
I haven't heard that chant in ages. I love it.
So apparently the idea behind this, Toronto was where Raw took place this week. Jean-Pierre Goulet was billed from Quebec City. And the idea was, by billing him from Quebec rather than Montreal or Canada in general, the Toronto crowd would boo the Quebecer.
Oh, is that the idea?
Unfortunately, when I've seen... Wade Barrett wasn't from London. Or what actually was he?
No, he was from Preston.
Yeah, but we would all cheer him because he's English.
William Regal, he's from Blackpool.
Exactly. So... I think the crowd just saw Jason Jordan, who's meant to be the babyface. WWE are thinking this will be a good way to get Jordan over with the crowd, the smart crowd. Nope. The Canadians surprisingly wanted to cheer the Canadian. Like they did. They cheered Jinder Mahal on SmackDown, and he's billed as being from Punjab.
Yeah. I literally wrote here, do they want him to get heel heat?
Yeah.
Why not face someone who hates Canada? Like, if you wanted to do that, why not you run into an American jobber backstage to be like, mate, I hate being here. Canada's stupid. It's full of idiot holes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then he goes out, and then Jason Jordan beats him up, possibly waving the Canada flag just to get extra babyface heat. But I thought this was a terrible idea, and it did not work.
Yeah, it didn't work.
No, not at all. And Jordan is not getting over with this. So there's a lot of theories going around that it's all going to be revealed that Jason Jordan isn't Kurt's illegitimate child, and that it was all a ruse done by the authority, by the McMahon-Helmsley regime. And there's going to be Jason Jordan's then going to be aligned with Triple H and Stephanie, and then get a push that way instead. I almost hope that's actually the direction, because this is killing him.
Yeah.
He's dead in the water with this.
Yeah, it's no good.
It's not getting him anywhere.
Imagine if it was Chad Gable.
Even Chad Gable.
I think if you put him out there in Toronto, Gable would be massively cheered.
Okay, so Gable would be better in the sense that he's a more charismatic guy. He'd be able to get the angle over a little bit better.
People are more willing to cheer him.
Yeah, people are more willing to cheer Gable. But it's still being saddled with a really bad gimmick. Mantar didn't get over because it was saddled with the Duke the Dumpster Drozy didn't get over because he was saddled with a really bad gimmick.
You know who else has been badly booked?
Oh,
it's coming. Bayley.
Oh, my girl Bayley.
Bayley had the audacity to come out with her injured shoulder. Oh, there goes it.
Excuse my nose.
We're going to have to bleep that.
Sorry.
Luke, we have a... So for everyone who didn't see that or hear that on the podcast, Luke's precariously balanced iPad with his notes on just fell over.
I'm going to do it like
and
this.
What, 4 or 5 months of not having a single swear? There you go. You said an S-bomb. You dropped an S-bomb.
I didn't even realise I'd done it. Sorry about that. That was very funny.
Anyway, Bayley that had the audacity, for my joke as well, of coming out and being like, oh, my injured I've got an injured shoulder. I won't be able to compete at SummerSlam for the title. And, poor me. Boo!
Oh, my God. I
Boo,
felt so
Bayley!
bad for her.
Boo!
I'm almost glad that I just dropped an S-bomb then, because that gave me a bit of chucklesome, gave me a bit of levity to what is a very, very dark day in the WWE universe. That my girl Bayley is on the shelf. She came out, she had her hair down, she didn't even tie it up because she was coming out almost out of character. To be like, guys, I'm injured. Boo! You dicks.
Really, though, because I I mean, yes, I suppose it's not the most mature reaction, but you're asking a mature reaction from what is essentially a mob mentality. It's a crowd of people. You're not going to get a measured response unless it's something super, super serious. It's indicative of 5 months of really, really bad booking.
I agree.
I can't blame them
there
for
is that
this.
discussion as to whether the crowd were booing Bayley or they were booing the booking of Bayley. That's kind of like the discussion. People aren't really sure what the Canadians were booing. I'd like to think they were booing the booking of Bayley as opposed to just... Because I've seen a lot of people going like, well, of course she got booed. She's the female John Cena. I was like, well, that's not an excuse. Because she was the female John Cena in NXT and she was over like no one's business. Well, so was Sami Zayn, in all fairness, and look at him on the main roster. But it was just a real shame. I just felt really bad for her as well because then like she acknowledged the boos and that got her flustered because it got more boos. Corey Graves pointed out the big dick. And then, I just felt really bad for her. I genuinely wanted to stop watching the show just so I could take a moment.
Wasn't it something like, well, I'm not talking to the people who are booing me right now. I'm talking to those who have tweeted me about my injury.
Yeah.
So that was, I mean...
it was a bad line.
It probably just came out, but...
it was a bad line.
She was obviously really taken aback by it.
It really, I felt so bad for her. Poor Bayley.
So the consequence of this is Bayley is out of her SummerSlam title match with Alexa Bliss. And who's she going to hug, man? If she can't. That's the thing she loves to do most.
I know.
She can't get that arm.
Do you know what's weird? I just folded my arms there. It's like, do you know what's weird? What's weird about this whole thing is that even though they were building towards Bayley versus Bliss at SummerSlam, it does really feel like in the last couple of weeks they've been more pushing the idea of being Sasha Banks versus Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam, even to the point where Pete Rosenberg on Bring It to the Table was like, I love Bayley and everything, but I'm more interested in seeing this match because that's a more interesting match to me. They've got more heat together and they seem to legitimately hate each other. And it just seems... I'm not trying to be a smart fan who's thinking this is all a work, but there are signs there that they were pushing the idea that Sasha Banks was going to be at SummerSlam against Bliss rather than Bayley being there before the injury happens. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. You worked on a very good video about Vince McMahon's conspiracy theories.
Thank you very much.
All last week, and you might be in the conspiracy theory mentality still.
Perhaps I am. Although, I mean, we were just talking about the Paul Heyman.
No, don't get into this.
Okay,
that's a long story. I think it's more that. But because that story was already there. But Sasha took Bayley for granted in that number one contenders match they originally had. Sasha was like, I can't wait to beat up Alexa. And Bayley was like, well, you've got to beat me first. And it was that played into Bayley beating Sasha in that number one contenders match. Sasha wasn't seen on TV afterwards. I thought it was building towards, to play devil's advocate, that Sasha would show up and interfere, cost Bayley the title maybe. And that's where you go with that feud.
But we do need to delay this Sasha Banks heel turn further than we already have.
I know. Would it be absolutely abysmal if they turn Bayley heel before Sasha Banks?
Well, I mean, I don't know. But here's what I'm thinking. Come SummerSlam, what if Bayley comes down to the ring, arm in a sling, hair down because she's brilliant and she's Bayley, and then just takes it off. Boom! Clothesline Sasha Banks.
And do our Bayley heel turn booking from
right.
Fantasy Booking Warfare a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
This turned into the new number one contenders match, which was 2 3-ways. The first one here between Sasha Banks, Alicia Fox, and Emma. And later in the night, Nia Jax versus Dana Brooke and Mickie James. Mickie James, I genuinely forgot, was on the Raw roster.
I was about to say, hilariously, when they announced there were going to be 2 triple threat matches, I literally said, are there 6 women on the Raw roster?
What's Summer Rae doing? Is she finally coming back?
I was sat there, I was like, Sasha Banks, Nia Jax, Emma.
Emelina.
Oh yeah, Dana.
Yeah.
Who else is there? I was stumped. And then when Alicia Fox's music here, I was like, who's this? Who's this coming out of the ring?
She doesn't usually get an entrance.
No. And then I've written my notes here. Alicia's entrance is such a Divas holdover. It just sounds like Divas era entrance music.
With Eva Marie leaving, that's a lot of people are saying that's the actual final end of the Divas, whatever that period of time was called.
The dark days.
Yeah, and now Alicia is sort of the hangover there.
Alicia is still the holdover.
She had that classic with Melina.
She certainly did, yeah.
I'm
I
glad
watched
there.
quite recently her defend the Butterfly Championship against Melina at a SummerSlam event.
Wow.
On the network.
You get up to stuff on your time off. The 2 3-ways, we won't go into both of them. But we'll bring one forward here. Sasha Banks won one, and Nia Jax won the other.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to face each other next week for the number 1 contendership.
Was there a botched 3 count?
Where?
In the
first one with Emma's pin.
Yes.
No, it was just a brilliant near fall.
Was it a brilliant near fall?
That's how I took it. Yeah.
Okay, because like the commentators, again, I'd kind of gone out into the other room with my wireless headphones to make a cup of tea, and they were like, Michael Cole was like losing his mind about it being a botched pinfall. So I just wanted to make sure there wasn't any, like, they're going to like try and turn into a storyline next week where Emma comes in and is like, "G'day, mate, I want to try and get back into there. Let's make it another triple threat match, and I'll get my championship opportunity at SummerSlam."
I'd love that.
Terrible Australian accent. I do apologise.
I would love that because I really, really like Emma.
She's great.
But yeah, I don't see how they can make that work from a logic perspective. But Shane McMahon's a special guest referee, so that ship sailed. So next week's Raw is in Boston, which is Sasha Banks' hometown.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
And Nia Jax, Alexa Bliss is another story that's been building forever, with Nia Jax having a frenemy relationship
There
with her.
There was a great moment because Alexa was out on commentary for both matches. Everyone's probably seen the image of Booker T checking out her rear when she was sitting down at commentary desk. Did a bit of a Jerry Lawler. Remember Jerry did that with Paige?
No, I don't.
There's a very funny image of like it was Paige stood up from the commentary desk to like shout at someone in the ring, and you just see Jerry Lawler doing this.
Puppies. Back puppies.
Back puppies. But anyway, I wanted to there was a really great moment when so Nia Jax won the second match, and obviously they've got this frenemy relationship going on, and Nia Jax points at Alexa Bliss, and Alexa Bliss goes, "Not sure what that was all about." I'm sure she's just caught up in the moment. Bliss was really funny.
Bliss is really great, but she seems to have disappeared recently. Despite being the world champion and everything is around her.
She's been on TV every
women's
week.
Champion. I just don't feel like, like when she first came over to Raw, we were getting a great full-on Alexa promo every other week.
You don't need especially with this build in particular. You just needed her out on commentary, just saying snide remarks about everyone in the ring, which I thought was great. I thought she was brilliant at.
You don't need another This Is Your Life segment.
No, you don't.
So we had Galanderson beating up Big Enzo Amore.
Excellent, well done.
So Big Show and Enzo Amore are now a team, it seems. Well, they were a team here. I don't think that's going to be the long-term direction. It was just another way to get Big Cass to come out and Big Show to hit Big Cass. And Big Show has ended almost every week standing tall.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it's this feud is bad. This is death comes to television, no good.
Yeah.
Very bad.
And it seems like it's going to get worse because Kurt Angle made it Big Cass versus Big Show for SummerSlam. My immediate reaction is, oh God, another match. It's going to be 8 hours long.
Yep.
And then Big Cass says, well, Enzo's always there, getting involved, yada, yada, yada. He's like a little yapping dog. You should put him up, chain him up somewhere. And Kurt goes, what, like a shark cage? I almost imagined him to take out the toy set right next to it. What, you mean like this shark cage that you can get from shops right now?
Yeah. If it were me, if I was the agent, the producer putting together this segment, I'd have opened it with like a marketing rep talking Kurt through the toy and being like, so this is one of the new toys that we've got out at the moment. It's really, really popular. And Kurt's like, oh, that's really, really interesting. And then Cass comes in and be like, we need to find a way to straighten this up. And Karen just does this. I've got an idea.
Or you go, that's a really, why didn't they do that? That would make this so much better.
Also, you put the toy on television.
Yeah.
Why hide the fact that you're trying to do this to push toys? At least the Transformers were quite open. It was like, this is a jumped up toy commercial. Go buy the toys, kids.
The other way you could do it is Kurt doesn't make the connection. So he's this rep's just been selling him the toy, and Kurt goes, oh, cool, I just need to do my proper job at the moment. Big Cass walks in, we need to lock Enzo up some way, and Kurt goes, you know what? I've just had an idea from nowhere. We put him in a shark cage. And then, you could have this run of things, like he's using a kendo stick or something. you know what? Maybe we should have a kendo stick on a pole match.
Especially if he then turns back to the marketing representative and goes like, so what are you saying about this?
Yeah. So what's this thing that's suspended above the ring?
Yeah. Okay. My only notes. I'm going to refer to my notes here.
Oh, please do.
This is quite fun because I would have forgotten about this had I not wrote it down in my notes.
It's the purpose of notes, yes.
I'm surprised.
I'm glad it's taken you 5 months to catch on to this.
Booker T at one point, I think it was after one of Galanderson hit him with a big move, said, and this is a direct quote, "Enzo is straight up mollywopped." It really made me laugh because I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, it's the sort of phrase that if someone said, it's straight up mollywop, I would go, is that racist? Did you just use a racist word?
I was like, oh, is that bad? But it's like,
it's gobbledygook.
He just got straight up mollywopped, kid. It was.
Yeah.
I proper did.
None of those things are verbs.
No, it's. Booker T was all over the show.
To the point where he was called out by Corey Graves in the Dean Ambrose
Cesaro
match.
I've literally written, what is Booker T talking about? He's so distracting on commentary because he's just saying things like straight up mollywopped or you're looking jacked, baby, because he's got a T-shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees that he's trying to hawk.
So but I would almost prefer, I do prefer him to David Otunga though.
Well, at least he provides something, I suppose. Because David Otunga was like, he was the personification of just, I don't know, I can't even think of the most boring thing. He was IKEA furniture without the personality.
JBL bullying him was the best thing about David Otunga. And I don't want JBL to bully someone, but when you're that insipid on commentary, David Otunga.
It's the three of them. It's him, Byron Saxton and Percy Watson.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, all three of them just absolutely offer nothing to either of their commentary teams.
I must defend Byron because when he was on Raw and he had this brilliant relationship with Corey Graves where Byron would be really overly optimistic, Corey would say, yeah, but you've never slept with a girl. and Byron would follow up immediately with like, yeah, but I held hands with one once. Yeah. And like when he had that was like a 2-month run where he finally found his niche. And that was really, really good.
If you're just going to keep calling me out for being a nerd, I may as well just play up being a nerd.
A really unironic, happy, but you can tell he's dying inside nerd. I really liked Byron in that role.
But he's got none of that on SmackDown because he's the insider.
Jesus Christ.
He's insider now, mate.
So the thing that we're missing in this is that Galanderson got a win against the nerds.
Great stuff. Love these things.
There was did you watch the Mike Rowe thing?
No.
So you know the guy who Nia Jax and Galanderson torment backstage? He's the...
Is this one of the WWE.com exclusives?
Yeah.
The good stuff they don't put on television.
Exactly. Like there is no reason not to put this very entertaining 2-minute thing on telly.
You have 3 hours.
Yeah. And it's Mike Rowe backstage because they won't too sweet him. That's the running gag. He's got Carl Anderson's jacket and he puts it on. He says, and he does an impression of both of them. And he says, "Do you want to too sweet me, Mark?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll too sweet you guys." And then as he's just about to too sweet himself, Nia Jax walks in and goes, "What are you doing?" And Luke Gallows walks in slowly and goes, "Is that Carl's jacket?" And he no, I just found it. Somebody goes, "What are you doing, nerd?" And then Carl Anderson walks in and they just all rip him.
Where's this stuff? Oh, I'd love to see that.
It's so funny. It makes me want Nia Jax to be with Galanderson as like a little trio.
Mate, that's great stuff.
Yeah.
Also, the other news coming out, this is another revival injury. They announced it during this match. Poor lad. Cannot catch a damn break.
So this is Scott Dawson tore his biceps.
Oh, that's a nasty injury.
This is just after Dash Wilder fractured his jaw or dislocated his jaw. Something to his jaw. Yeah, real shame.
No flips, just hospital trips.
Yeah, there's
yes, mate.
Did you is that on your notes?
No, it's not on my notes. I just thought of that.
That is good.
High five.
Someone
else probably came up with that, I'll be honest.
Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt were up next.
Oh, yeah.
So talking about how bad Big Cass and Big Show's feud is. Oh, this is more disinteresting to me.
I have written here, this is a repeat of the Seth feud. It's the exact same booking of the Seth feud. The only thing I liked about this whole in-ring segment was that Balor kept popping his jacket before he did a move. Like he'd pop his collar, and I was like, God, he's cool. And that's about it.
Finn Balor came out and he cut a promo, and the crowd were like, that half of them were wearing Bullet Club t-shirts. So they were like, yay! And then Finn Balor kept on talking, and he's not the best talker. I don't think so. He's a fantastic wrestler. But that happened. And then it's just that these are two guys who do not need the supernatural shtick. And the ability to appear and then disappear, however blackout way you do it. I don't want to see Bray Wyatt teleporting from the middle of the ring to the Titantron. I don't want to see Bray Wyatt cutting a promo on a Titantron ever again. But this is the way they keep going with it, and you're doing the wrong interpretation of the characters, and it's creating a really insipid build to this feud. I don't care about this.
Nope.
It's gonna be a good match, but
yeah,
I won't. It could be so much more of a better match if I was invested in what was happening and the characters. But it's just going to be 4 weeks of them appearing in the ring.
And we've only got 2 more weeks of it, thank God. But actually, it's the go-home show next week for SummerSlam. Can you believe next week is the go-home show? Really doesn't feel like it is.
Yeah.
Or it's the go-home week before SummerSlam. It just really does. Like even on the NXT, like the Brooklyn 3 show. I mean, good Lord, there's a reason why they can't sell that building out, and even the scalpers aren't interested in buying tickets.
So next up we had probably the best part of the show for me, Dean Ambrose beating Cesaro in a cracking TV match. This went on for ages. It was great stuff. In a
all
good
the way through, yeah. Really good.
The best way to describe it in one word is uppercuts. Uppercuts everywhere. Uppercuts when Dean Ambrose tries to tope out the ring.
Yep.
Uppercuts when Dean Ambrose leaps off the top turnbuckle. Uppercuts.
Uppercut City, mate.
Cesaro is exactly like Balor. I could just watch him wrestle anything.
Yeah, so good. He is, he's just really great. There's nothing more to add on that. Distraction roll-up.
Yeah, that's... I didn't like that part of it. But So I didn't like the distraction roll-up. I would have just preferred a normal pin. But poetic symmetry, I can see the case for doing it with the Seth Rollins Sheamus and the match they had the previous week. So the heels beat... Oh, actually, that was another part of the match. There were some great moments between Cesaro and Sheamus in this. There was a moment when Ambrose kicked out and Cesaro went right up to the ropes just dejected, and he's just looking like that, and Sheamus is looking at him. Some beautiful facials and reactions like that.
Sheamus was so good as well because he didn't take his sunglasses off, which are like they're reflective sunglasses, but he was still conveying every single emotion without using his eyes. It was really, really good. But yeah, I mean, this was the match where Booker T was all over the show in terms of his commentary.
Yeah.
He has no idea what the storylines are, despite the fact he's there every smegging week. He was just saying all sorts of random stuff. Corey Graves, God bless his heart, just had to keep shutting him down and telling him to shut up and like point out where he was going wrong. It's a testament to how good this match was that they overcame awful commentary.
Yeah, because sometimes, especially when the commentary team have something else to promote, a pay-per-view, a WWE Studios release with the guy from Arrow, that can really take away from the match. But at least this one was kind of in the...
Yeah.
It kind of helped having someone explain the way storylines work to Booker T. To explain it to me, I was like, oh, so that's how this is going. Okay, this is nice.
Do you know what a classic example of bad commentary hampering a match is? It was when they first did the brand split, the bland split.
From last year or the first one?
No, the very first time they did the bland split. And it was the first... I think it was probably the first pay-per-view, or it was the first pay-per-view where they were all together and they were actually having like an inter-promotion match. It was like Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. And they had both sets of commentary teams doing the commentary. So you had the Raw commentators and the SmackDown commentators. And they just spent the whole match shouting at each other about which was the better brand. It's unwatchable. So bad. It like it was early day JBL as well. Oh, it was actually I'm not sure much. It was Taz in particular. Taz was awful for it, but it's bad. Unwatchable.
Good. But this was very good.
Excellent.
And after the match, Sheamus, emboldened by the events previously in the night, where Ambrose didn't run down to save Seth Rollins, they thought we're gonna have a bully beat down of Ambrose here. Beat down. Who runs out? But burn it down!
Yeah.
Seth Rollins.
And you pointed out to me today what that's in relation to.
Well, it's in relation to a number of things, but I didn't quite click that it was 2K18 as well with the advertising campaign.
I did not put those two together. I just thought it was a WrestleMania thing, but I thought it was a WrestleMania thing, but I thought it's a bit late to be doing that now. WrestleMania was months ago. We're on to SummerSlam now. But as soon as you mentioned the 2K18 thing, I was like, right, I get it now.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a really nice bit of character arc work because, he was the architect and now he's all about burning it down. But it doesn't entirely chide with what he's doing in storyline by repairing things with Dean Ambrose.
I was going to say, yeah, I mean, it really should be like repair it up.
Yeah. If it was... Yeah, if this happened last year going into the Triple H feud where he wanted to burn down the Authority, makes total sense, but not so much here. No. But it's still, I don't know.
But to be honest, this segment at the end there where like Dean was the one to put out the fist bump, the crowd were going ape S-word. I'm not going to say it this time because I got in trouble last time. Just like, and they're like, the camera, very smart. I don't say it this often about Kevin Dunn, but he was smart enough to just pull the camera back and show the entire crowd going in yes chants. What a sight. What a sight to behold. It was a great, great moment. And Seth walked away. And I was like, this is the best story outside of Brock Lesnar and the Fatal 4-Way. It's, God, hot damn, it's so good.
Well, the Fatal 4-Way isn't really a story. It's just four people,
just like four big dudes beat each other up.
But this is an actual story with character development and loads of backstory, and you can tell it's connecting because Bizarro Land, the Canadian crowd, they have been booing the baby faces and cheering the villains all night, but then you give them something that's genuinely good and they can get their teeth into and they can relate to emotionally. And all of that cynicism goes away. And they were genuinely cheering these two. Yeah. They wanted to see it. Like, if there was a heel turn or anything, they would have booed. They would have booed the right moments and cheered the right moments. So that was really nice to see.
I thought this was ace. Absolutely ace. Best thing on Raw by a mile.
It even went to the point where, Dean puts out the hand, the fist bump. And I'm like, no, don't do it now. That's too soon. You want to do it next week. But they held it for so long. I was actually like, oh, no, actually, I want to see them make up.
Absolutely,
I believed in the story. You forget it's fake for a moment, which is what it should do. And then Seth walked away, and I was like, oh, no, I'm actually angry he walked away now. But you made the right move for the storyline.
So good.
So very good stuff. But then we had sort of two segments of, which was Araya Daivari. Akira Tozawa.
You've done it again,
beating
mate.
Araya Daivari. It's because I just copy and pasted my Raw notes. I put that wrong in the title bit of Raw.
I felt really bad
Raw review
for our editor because he was the one who took the blame for it. A few of the comments were just like, "You want to be in touch with your editor? He's put the wrong note in there."
No, that's my fault.
It's all your fault.
And I mean, it made me feel that Tozawa might be getting the win over Neville.
Really?
I don't know. I was thinking about it. Akira Tozawa feels like the most worthy person to step up so far. I know you had the Austin Aries stuff, but that never really clicked for me. I'm actually quite behind Tozawa.
I'm super behind Tozawa as well, but I think this is going to be pushed to the pre-show. Maybe they'll do a title change in the pre-show, but it doesn't feel like it's the right time to take the belt off Neville. When he was in that feud with Austin Aries, I was like, yeah, now is the time to be doing it because Austin Aries has had this whole storyline where he was on commentary and his whole thing was like, as soon as I get back in the ring, I'm going to be the best person there. So it just felt like the right time to tell that story. But with Tozawa, because this build has been virtually non-existent, doing a title change now, I feel would be a real disservice to all the good work you've done with Neville since the Royal Rumble.
I suppose so. And you really want to build to that year-long title reign for Neville, where he cashes it in for a shot at Brock Lesnar's Universal title.
Yes, mate.
Yes, come on. Because that's a good Royal Rumble match, right?
Oh, totally,
Because the Rumble sells the Rumble, the 30-man over the top. So you can have a throwaway thing that won't necessarily draw.
Oh, it'd be so good. Mate, can you imagine him hitting the F5 on Neville as well? Because he would take that like an effing champ.
Do you remember the Raw match where Neville hit, the Red Arrow on Seth Rollins? And it actually looked like Neville won the title.
Yes.
And I thought, because no one had kicked out of it by then, but Rollins just got his foot on the ropes, but you couldn't really see on the camera. That's one of my favourite memories of Raw from the last couple of years.
Very good.
Anyway, we've already done the Nia Jax win, so the main event was Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns in a last man standing match. Yes, it's another lineup of the same guys who are involved in the match. It's using the matchup to build to the matchup, essentially. But this was so much fun, I didn't really mind this week.
I hated the finish.
Tell me why.
I don't like Mondays. Why couldn't you give Braun a clean victory?
So let's just quickly run through the match. There was loads of fun bits. It was very hardcore heavy. There was the steel steps got involved. There was a table spot. The bit everyone's talking about is when
Chair shot, mate.
Reigns ran round to give Braun a spear. Usually this would be Braun moves out the way, go into the timekeeper's area. That hasn't been done for a few months now, so you could feel it coming. Instead, Braun didn't pick up a steel chair. He picked up like one of those large ergonomic office chairs with the comfy leather seats and padding and threw it straight at Reigns' face. It looked incredible.
Spectacular.
And then they fought outside and up the ramp and back down. Reigns delivered this high-speed spear to Braun, running down off the ramp and kind of launching himself off the ramp before it hit the normal flat ground. Took out Braun. Both men were down. It got to 8. Roman was up, and then he walked over to the crowd, the barrier, and out of nowhere, Samoa Joe got him in the Coquina clutch. The referee stopped counting, and Samoa Joe choked out Roman, so he was on the ground, and then the referee started counting again, and Braun got up at 7, like he did an old Undertaker sit up.
Yeah.
So what didn't you like about that?
Strowman was down for
way too long,
20 odd, and like. So
from just a spear as well.
From just a spear. So we talked about this last week, where I didn't see the logic in Roman beating Samoa Joe, given the whole storyline was that Samoa Joe, you've never beaten me, and that storyline's now gone. You can't do that storyline anymore. When it came to but you said to me, something I did completely agree with, is you've got to give everyone their moment. So you've got to give Roman his moment this week. Say Strowman's moment next week, Joe's moment the following week, so that everyone looks kind of great. Problem is you're doing it against the other people in the match, so everyone's just on a level playing field, which I think is backward booking, and they're going to do it again on Monday, and I think it's destructive booking.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why you just didn't give Strowman the clean win here over Roman and make him just look like a dominating heel, rather than having to have someone help him beat Roman Reigns in a last man standing match. I thought it really hurt Strowman. It didn't help Reigns, and it didn't help Joe. So I thought it was an awful finish. Really, really bad.
Wow.
And it really put a sour note on the whole show.
Wow, okay. I didn't know you felt that strongly against it, because my main umbrage with the finish was it didn't make any sense within the confines of the rules.
No, okay, so that just adds further to it. So I just thought it hurt everyone.
So when Roman stood up, like Roman was still, when the referee got to 8 when Samoa Joe applied the choke, the referee stopped counting despite it being no DQ, and Roman was still standing up by this point. So like Braun was down for 12, then Roman went down, and then the referee started from 1 again. So that wasn't right. But I did like Samoa Joe choking out Roman, because you keep all those plates spinning. Joe was the one who got pinned last week, which, I wouldn't have done either, but you've done it. So Joe getting his heat back by taking out Roman, choking him out like that was good. The way Strowman got up, like it almost was as if he was playing possum. He stood up real strong and stood up immediately. It wasn't like he staggered to his feet. So I don't think it hurt him. I didn't think about Strowman at all.
If it were me, if I were in charge, if I had some sort of creative power, I'd have had Strowman win, gone over strong, gone over clean. Not like, make Roman look like a complete jabroni. Have Roman be like so close to it. Almost do that. The Triple H Jericho just gets up at the 10 count, but then collapses back down again. Both of them just look like complete badasses. And then as Strowman just gets back to his feet, Joe locks in the clutch on Strowman and takes him out, because then Joe's mentality going into next week was just like, you had 2 monsters who beat each other to the point where they couldn't stand, and I was the only one left standing. And I put down the victor, ergo that makes me the best of the 3. And I think that's a good bit of character motivation for Joe going into next week's show. Also, it keeps Braun strong, because I thought Braun looked very weak at the end of this. And Reigns still looks strong because he only just lost the match.
What about, and I've just thought of this as you were talking, so it might not work when I say it out loud, But in last week's match, Braun Strowman pins Joe. So you do it that way round.
Yeah.
And Joe's like, there's a bit of tomfoolery to why Joe gets pinned. It isn't like a clean win because it's a 3-way. So this match, you have Braun and Roman going at it. And then they're both sort of down for the count. But they're staggering up. Joe walks in with the steel chair, looks at Braun, because Braun was the one who pinned him, just whacks him with a steel chair. Braun's out, looks at Roman's at his feet now, whacks him as well, walks out, but then within like 5, Braun is straight up and stands up, but Roman's down for the count.
Also works, yeah. I thought it was a bad finish.
So much time left for SmackDown. We only went 55 minutes so far. I'm sorry, SmackDown viewers. Although there wasn't... On paper, there seems like a lot that happened on this show.
There really isn't.
There really isn't, yeah.
No. And I find that we kind of get criticised a lot in this show of people saying, like, you spend so much time on Raw that you feel like you have to rush SmackDown. But my argument is that often there's actually not a lot to talk about with SmackDown.
I tell you what we should do. We should start with SmackDown one week.
Yeah,
see if that we filled time, because we there's also this is definitely true, that when we start we're very optimistic, we ramble to our heart's content, but by the time it gets to an hour, like, oh god, we've gone really fast. Let's rush through these a bit. So SmackDown kicked off with John Cena walking out. We didn't talk about him in the last in the Raw review. But because both Raw and SmackDown were in the same arena in Toronto, you had the same guy, I'm sure you know who he is, with a red hat, a red baseball cap, worn backwards. On Monday night, he was wearing a Roman Sucks t-shirt, and he was very proudly declaring it to the camera. Sometimes to Roman himself, like looking him right in the eyes, like that, screaming words at him. And today he had a Cena Sucks one. And when John Cena came in the ring, he was like, oh, this is a bit of a divisive Bizarro Land reaction with these hand gestures. And then you can see when he clocks the guy with the Cena Sucks t-shirt, and he just laughs and points at him.
As well you should. As well you should point and laugh at that guy. I get passion, but like, just printing up your own t-shirt that says Cena Sucks. And because like he's worn that t-shirt, because I recognise that guy from many shows. I don't know, man. I just think it's a bit lame to buy a front row ticket. Just be spending front row ticket money just so you can wear a t-shirt that says Cena Sucks or Roman Sucks. I'm like, ooh, you're cool.
I'm in defense of that guy. That guy is cool. Because when you watch, because I mentioned earlier, I watched the Vince and Austin rivalry documentary at the weekend. And when people were yelling at McMahon from the crowd, or when you showed shots, people believed it. And there was genuine anger and emotion there. I don't want, like, sort of, what's the word? Meta.
Difference
hipster
there.
reaction.
Difference there is that you were meant to be booing Vince McMahon. And you were meant to hate Vince McMahon. And you were meant to cheer Austin. And the crowd responded in the way that the booking had kind of hoped that they would. Everyone was cheering Austin because he's a badass. Everyone's booing Vince because he's a dick boss. John Cena is your top babyface. He is wearing that t-shirt because he is and he's bought front row tickets to be like, look, I am a fan and I do not like the way that you have cherry picked this guy to be and I do not agree with this, and my t-shirt
which is totally fair.
Okay, fine. I just think it's a bit lame to print up your own t-shirt and buy front row tickets, because like, who's laughing at the end of the day, really? Probably Vince when he cashes the check.
What about Swaft? If someone printed off their own Swaft t-shirt.
But that's a bit different, because they're doing that because it's a funny, stupid in-joke from a doofy wrestling show that two nerds do in a studio in Dagenham.
What about Push Cesaro or stuff like that?
Oh, like the Cesaro section signs.
Yeah, or if they printed t-shirts.
Well, the Cesaro section sign, because they're like, the story behind that was it was one guy who'd printed out loads of them and then was handing them round.
Oh yeah, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying if someone printed their own t-shirt, like I think the problem you have is that it's with these specific top babyface pushes.
Perhaps that's more like,
rather than...
it just feels like it's the personification of the IWC. And that's what it is. And maybe I think it's a bit lame, because I don't like the IWC having this perception that we're all just a bunch of Roman haters when we're not, because I happen to think he's great. I just think he's badly booked.
But that's what the guy's booing.
But he's not booing that, though. He is booing Roman and thinks that Roman sucks because he's not Daniel Bryan, or he's not Cesaro, or he's not AJ Styles.
And he isn't. Like, he's a good wrestler, but he's been... If Roman was presented really effectively and he was booked like how he should be booked, that guy wouldn't be wearing a Roman Sucks
Absolutely,
t-shirt.
no, he's not.
So it is kind of a... unconsciously or not, it is aimed at the booking. Maybe the Attitude Era isn't the best one, but what about
because people were over then.
The ECW One Night Stand shows? And that is just a Hammerstein ballroom full of those people who genuinely hate John Cena.
But it was at the perfect time, and I still, to this day, argue it's the best booking that WWE have ever done, and everyone going into that match knew what they were going into, because John Cena worked that match as the heel and worked up those fans, because that's why he's brilliant. That's why he's so good at what he does, because he went into that match knowing, like, I'm going to be the most hated man in this arena, and that's great, because I can really play up to that. And he did, and it riled the crowd up so much that when Rob Van Dam did win the title, it was explosive. What a match that was. RVD is awesome. He's great, but John Cena was the man who really made that match.
But like saying John Cena's really good, which he is different to, the company booking and that perception of him.
Mm-hmm.
So what? But those fans is what I'm saying.
Okay,
it's those fans I love.
So we are going to probably agree to disagree on this one. I feel that this lad here with his Roman Sucks t-shirts for one night and then his Cena Sucks t-shirt for the other night it's
a brand split.
He's the fan that everyone thought the IWC was 10 years ago, when we were all on message boards just talking like, Cena sucks, this company's going to die with him on top, and it didn't. It just prospered and made loads of money. And it's just like, here's the thing, because I was listening to a podcast today that was talking about this, and it's something that I very much do agree with, which is that, yes, TV ratings are down, but TV ratings are just sort of one facets of a way to make money. And not only that, but they've made their money from TV up until 2020, which is when I think
it's 2019.
2019, okay. So they've already made that TV money until their deal expires in 2019. So the decline in TV ratings actually aren't a factor until it comes to renegotiating that TV deal. If live events are dropping, that's one thing. If merchandise is dropping, that's another thing. Live attendance isn't really dropping, and neither is merchandise sales. So the company's not failing with Roman on top. Less people are watching.
Live event is dropping.
Not by a huge amount. Like they're still making a profit.
Only when Cena comes back, though.
No, but okay, but the company, they just did their quarterly finances. They're not making as much profit as they would like, but they are still turning a profit. So they are prosperous. If you are a company that is turning profit, you're not failing.
Yeah, but it's about how much money you're leaving on the table as well. Surely WWE, they are making money.
Yeah, okay,
that's great.
That's fine. So, but we're arguing very different points here, I feel.
Well, but it's just the guy wearing a Cena Sucks t-shirt.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is that guy is the guy who's on message boards going like, this company will die with Cena on top. And he's been on top for 10 years. The company didn't die. And it's like, this company will die. This company is failing because Roman's being pushed. This company isn't failing because Roman's being pushed. Like, could the booking be better? Absolutely. Would they be doing better if he was booked better? Absolutely. Would the company be doing better if AJ Styles was the lead guy? Probably, yeah. But, like, that's not where the company is at the moment. I just thought it was a bit lame. That's all I'm saying. And, like, I think that guy's been lame for the last 10 years.
I admire your passion. Cena Sucks t-shirt guy.
I admire the passion. I just think it's a bit lame. To be doing it in 2017 in particular.
We disagree on this. I think it was an awesome show of fan dedication from a great crowd. Cheap pop. Come on, Canadians.
Can I tell you my favourite moment from this promo, though?
Sure.
And this is somewhere like and actually is going to be a slandering against John Cena, of all people, who I was just overly praising. So, and this actually was going against like the scripted nature of things. So, he's putting over Shinsuke. He's putting over Nakamura, being like, "Oh, I've never been in a ring anyone like him. He was absolutely brilliant, and I lost the match." And the crowd started chanting Nakamura, Nakamura, and he then said, "I didn't know why you were cheering that, but I do now because those kicks hurt." I think in the script they were expecting everyone to chant King of Strong Style, and that's why he would then say like, I didn't understand why you were chanting that, but yeah, those kicks really do hurt. But because the crowd chanted Nakamura, his follow-up line doesn't make any sense.
But didn't he already say King of Strong Style in that promo, or did that come after?
That came afterwards.
Because that was weird, because it's the artist. You don't say King of Strong Style on the main roster.
No, but I think they were expecting the crowd to chant that, and they didn't. I just thought it just made me laugh, because the line didn't make any sense after that.
They expected them to cheer a guy from to cheer Jason Jordan.
They were probably expecting people to boo Jinder Mahal as well, but look how that turned out.
So Baron Corbin came out.
His bad new music as well.
Yeah, why are they? He had a good entrance as well with the end of days stuff on the Titantron.
What was his old entrance music?
It
wasn't great or anything, but
WWE seem to be all about making minor but detrimental changes to people's entrances right now. Or apart from Kevin Owens, who we'll come on to in a bit. And then they had a bit of back and forth, another bit of Cena improvisation. He saw a sign in the crowd and said, "You're just a skinny, fat dumpster fire."
So great.
And I thought, God, that's awfully specific. and then he went, they showed the sign in the crowd. I thought, he read it off a sign. Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense.
Dumpster fire, what an amazing chant. I hope that catches on for him.
Yeah, because nothing else is for Corbin. And then Daniel Bryan came out and said, "You two facing each other at SummerSlam." Oh God, it's more matches at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine today about this. We were talking about how the Randy versus Rusev match is going to be. I mean, that's a piss break match if ever there was one. That's going to be a really dragged match, even if it's only 8 minutes. But I can't see Cena versus Corbin being any better because I mean, let's be honest. Corbin has had Nakamura's worst match ever, and it takes two to tango.
Next up, we had the Usos beating Ty Dillinger and Sami Zayn very quickly. Ty and Sami, of course, are from Canada and have apparently been teaming on house shows as of late.
Yeah. Oddly, because they got the reaction, they used a Bizarro World reference. They said Bizarro World here for Ty and Sami. I was like, they're the babyfaces. Surely they're meant to be cheered.
Yeah, it's just this whole losing your hometown thing was just ridiculous this week. Yeah. Because if you, not
even in their hometowns, it's their home country.
Yeah, sometimes I can see you wanting to get heat on the heel, like having a babyface lose in their hometown because of a dastardly heel trick. The crowd are going to boo the heel more. Fair enough. But I think, in general, you'd want the babyface to win because the babyface is going to be the guy who makes you the more money. And if you have the babyface getting these extremely positive reactions in their hometown places, then that might influence the people who go to see the show next week to cheer even louder too.
Heat transference.
Yeah, heat transference.
I don't get it. It's an old school trick of being the guy in their hometown because you can draw heat on the heel. It works when you do it once, but when you do it throughout the show and you do it every single time with a couple of exceptions.
Rich Swann.
Every single time, then crowds just start to get worn down.
Yeah.
And then they stop reacting to their hometown guys. I think it's a really, really backward way of doing it.
It's actually, from what I understand, that isn't the accepted way to do it. In all the other territories, it would always be the babyface winning, with a few exceptions, in their hometown because that's how you get the biggest reaction. But it's a WWE thing that beats them.
If you're a hometown guy and you always win, then when you have that heel beat him, then you get loads of heat then onto that heel. So if you have your hometown guy winning loads in their hometown and then they get beaten by a heel, say, the sixth time you go to that town, big reaction.
Yeah.
But doesn't work that way.
Well, we don't want it to be predictable, but we don't want it to be
but
just
it is, you don't want to be predictable. It is predictable.
So poor Ty and Sami lost pretty quickly.
But I suppose the Usos as well had to win because they're challenging for the tag team belt. So I didn't mind Ty and Sami losing, really, because they're not a team. The Usos are a team, and they're going for the tag team championships. Fine, have them win.
But you can have a competitive match. See Rusev, Chad Gable last week.
That's the other. That's the other
and
side
you
of
can
the
get
coin.
people over in defeat.
Did say I was a fan of the match. I thought the right team went over.
New Day ran out afterwards with chairs.
This was great from the New Day as well. A really aggressive side of them. When Kofi grabbed that chair,
because Xavier slid it through the ring too far,
and they were swinging it like madmen. I thought this is awesome. This was so good.
That was really good. The Usos just escaped though, going from one tag team bit to another.
You said well about how they're making these changes to entrances to the detriment of them. The Usos' new music is awesome.
The Usos have got new music?
Yeah, their music has changed. It's kind of the same thing, but they reference the Uso penitentiary now. It starts with them going Uso. It's so damn good. That is great entrance music.
I'll add it to the workout playlist.
You should do.
Fashion Peaks was up next with... Wasn't as good as last week, I thought, but that's not saying it was bad in any way because it was still incredibly funny. Tyler Breeze is there trying to figure out who's kidnapped Fandango, and the Ascension are just sitting there. And there's a pie in between them. Like, we're just here for the pie. Then what happens? Oh, yeah, Fandango just turns up.
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah.
Dango is back, thank God.
Where have you been? Oh, alien abduction. Well, I could leave any time I wanted, he says to Breeze. And Breeze goes, well, why didn't you come back sooner? And Fandango says, because of the anal probes. I mean, wardrobe of clothes. That really made me laugh.
So good. That was really
Because
funny.
when was that kind of joke made on WWE TV?
Really made me chuckle.
That was good.
Yeah.
And then the person behind beheading Tully the horse was finally revealed. It was Arn Anderson.
That bloody heel.
Yeah.
That bloody heel ripped off the head of a horse. You jerk.
Because they should have named the horse after him. He was always the best
Great
horseman.
joke.
But so I thought, they've solved the Tully the horse thing. What is there to... And Fandango was... We're just going to accept he was kidnapped by aliens. And then they said, it looks like our work's just getting started. So I suppose those were just red herring subplots. They still need to find who trashed their office.
It was the Minnesota Red Herrings. I think we are... Because you mentioned how SummerSlam's going to be long, and we have got a lot of matches on there. I think Meltzer was saying in the Observer last week that we're also going to have the reveal of who's been attacking the Fashion Police at SummerSlam.
The day after NXT TakeOver 3.
Mm.
Red Dragon.
Or Sanity.
Yeah, it won't be Red Dragon. Who am I kidding? They're being saved for a crappy Shield reunion storyline. Yes, I'm still bitter.
It wasn't crappy. It was winning.
Charlotte beat Lana in a joke of a match. Literally a joke of a match.
Wasn't it just... Could we give up on this Lana experiment now? Because it's going nowhere fast.
Charlotte openly laughed at Lana in the ring, and then Lana, in a moment of slapstick comedy, accidentally pulled down Charlotte's tights.
Oh, yeah. Also, boo you Canadians for then going, thank you, Lana. It's like, come on, guys, have some decorum.
Oh, that's a funny... What have you got against the fans, man?
I've got nothing against the
fans. That is a funny chance.
I thought that Canada was awesome. I just think that we shouldn't just be saying things like that.
I think...
Would
you be saying the same if it was a man's bottom?
That's what I mean. Like, if you'd have pulled down Randy Orton's pants, you would have been saying, thank you, Jinder.
I think that would have been quite funny.
That would have been funny.
I just want everyone to get exploited equally. So Lana pulled down the tights. Luckily for Charlotte, she was facing the hard cam.
Yeah.
So only the people... That Roman Sucks guy, he got an eye load.
He didn't need just.
He got his money's worth.
He proper got an eyeful.
So that it isn't saved for everyone else to see, but that those guys certainly did. And then weirdly backstage later on, Tamina came into the locker room and kind of said to Lana, "Well, now you're going to help me have a title shot."
Yeah, I mean, this storyline's proper pants.
Like, you've got charisma and I've got the muscle, so we're going to be rubbish together.
How bad of an actor is Tamina?
She got the right lines this time.
Okay, there is that. But she's bad, because they also showed like a WWE.com exclusive from the week previous where Lana said, we're quite similar, only I'm better looking and I'm more charismatic, or something like that. And Tamina's reactions were, they were laughably bad. And then she has to deliver dialogue this week, which was also bad. Lana's being held back by having to do the silly accent. This was just bad. Not good at all.
Yeah, and it's weird that you've got this storyline going on when Charlotte and Becky Lynch are storyline-less, and they are two of your best wrestlers.
Poor old Becky, mate. Why? She wasn't on TV this week. She legit is. Like, it's her. Actually, they've got four really, because her, Charlotte, Naomi, and Natalia are like the four real workhorses, you would say, on the SmackDown roster. And Becky and Charlotte have got nout going on. They've got their tea thing, whatever that is.
Yeah, they're over online.
Apparently, they're going to start calling it T Generation X.
That's good. I can't see that ever being used on telly. I think it's unfortunately strictly a social media joke. Because why have stuff like that gets over? You don't want anything getting over on TV. Keep it on the online exclusives. Next up, we had a pretty decent promo between Shane McMahon, AJ Styles, and Kevin Owens.
Loved this segment.
Kevin Owens finally without the Face of America gimmick entrance.
Instantly better.
Yeah.
I thought this whole package, this whole segment was great.
And Owens was facing an uphill struggle here because he was in front of a very passionate Canadian crowd. He is a Canadian, so they wanted to cheer him. How is he? It's cheap. It's a cheap trick. But how do you get Canadians to boo you? You make a joke about Bret Hart getting screwed over in 1997.
It was so funny as well because he's like, a McMahon screwed over a Canadian, and he deserved it.
Yeah, because he got a huge pop at first. And I was like, wow, are we watching a KO face turn here?
No.
And then he delivered it.
So good.
Yes,
that was a great line. I actually, as well, while I was watching this, in my head, I was like, do you remember when you used to talk about how when you were watching a movie that you didn't like, you'd start booking a better version of that movie? You did it with Star Trek Into Darkness, quite famous.
I wrote a much better version.
I wrote a better version of the movie in your head. Yeah. I was doing that with this segment because I've not been into this feud because it's been all over the show, really.
The plot is how bad the finishes are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then, like, the announcement of Shane O'Mac as referee, I'm like, this is not a way to improve this storyline. Mm-hmm. So as like they were kind of doing the segment, I was kind of booking something better in my head, which is like, well, okay, the great thing with guest referees is that they're calling it down the line, but they could sway either way. That's like, it's Shawn Michaels in the Triple H Undertaker Hell in a Cell.
Sure.
Whereas, like, it was his pride. Was he wanted the Undertaker's streak to end, and he's the guy that retired him, and Triple H is his buddy. But does he want the streak to end, and does he want Triple H to be the guy to do it? Because that would mean that Triple H is better than him. So good. So that's great. When you try, and so I was like, oh, it'd be awesome here if like there was a bit of a scuffle, and Shane, well, if Shane was like really up in KO's face, just being like, I've got to try and call it down the line, but you're not making this easy for me. But then there's a bit of a kerfuffle, and Shane accidentally and AJ accidentally knocks Shane out, and then Shane's like, I think you did that on purpose. I don't think I can trust either of you now. And then would you Adam and Eve it? That's what they did. And I was like, yes, finally! I'm actually more interested in this match now.
It did, like, it was bad in the respect that they just pointed out all the reasons having Shane McMahon to officiate this match is a terrible idea.
Yeah. Although I think Kevin Owens botched it as well because he said, I've got footage of Shane being a terrible referee at SummerSlam. And it wasn't, it was at Survivor Series.
They both say SS in. I make that mistake because to save time I write SS in our fantasy booking.
I do the same thing.
And then I accidentally get it confused with the Nazi army. And you had that bit.
Keep stepping on my head.
Oh, I'm sorry. So where were we? We had the Shane. Oh yeah, so he's the reason he's a bad officiator for this match. But at the same time, like you said, I haven't been invested in this feud, and I finally warmed up to it. I was like, oh, actually, I kind of want to see this now.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be very fun. I'd have liked this. What I would have really liked at the end of it is more of a tete-a-tete between Shane and AJ following the Pele kick knocking Shane out. Because you had KO up the ramp chuckling away like the big bloody heel that he is, the big brilliant heel that he is, pointing and laughing and everything. I'd have liked to say, like, you know, AJ to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to help him up, and Shane just pushing his hand away.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been a really nice way ending. Or as opposed to it really ended with AJ just going like, you better call it down the line. I was like, you just kicked him in the face, mate.
Yeah, and they brought up like AJ's heel run against Shane. Almost forgot they had that Mania match.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a good segment.
You mean the match where Shane nearly out-wrestled AJ Styles?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean... So next up we had Carmella beating Naomi. Yep. The Money in the Bank holder, actually, I think the only time a Money in the Bank holder is going to win a match is it's in a non-title match against the champion.
Yeah.
So Naomi lost, but it was all because of a returning James Ellsworth.
Do you know what's really weird? So she's been wearing who's she? The cat's mother. Carmella has been wearing this T-shirt that says "Free James" or "Free Ellsworth" something with a picture of his face on it. And I was suddenly looking at this T-shirt, and I've sort of put down here is like, "Free Ellsworth." Shouldn't this been like when when Daniel Bryan banned him from being on SmackDown Live? Shouldn't that led to some really funny skits of James Ellsworth trying to sneak into the building and being scuppered at every opportunity?
Yeah.
And I sort of thought, I was like, where have those skits been? And then Ellsworth showed up, and I was like, oh, maybe they're going to start them now. And then Tom Phillips goes like, the 30-day suspension was up last week. I was like, oh. So it led to nothing. Brilliant. Excellent. I'm so glad we took the time out to ban him for 30 days to lead to nothing.
He got a big pop because I think everyone forgot about the time frame of the 30 days. But yeah, we said at the time when he got suspended, at least they can hopefully do some skits.
Do some great stuff.
They're a good act.
Yeah, you could have
Carmella and...
It reminded me actually of, they did this in TNA once. There was during the dark days when Hogan and Bischoff were kind of running the place, and Russo was head creator.
Dream team.
And what a team it is. And they had a feud between Abyss and Nigel McGuinness as Desmond Wolfe, and Desmond Wolfe had a valet, Chelsea, I think her name was. Yeah, no connection between the two of them. Really, really bad. Not a great feud. But they did this match where if Abyss won, he won Chelsea for 30 days.
Creepy.
Always good to have a woman as a trophy that you can win and trade back and forth. Not good at all.
Is it worse that there's a time period?
Yeah. But anyway, Abyss won, and then they never followed it up.
Probably for the best.
But you could have done any form of wacky skill. Considering that Abyss was the baby face as well, you could have done anything, and they didn't. And then just like 30 days later, she was just back with Desmond Wolfe. What was the point?
Yeah.
I suppose it's better than when X-Pac beat Kane and he won Tory for the Christmas period.
Nice.
What a weird
Bring her home.
What a weird storyline that was.
So I've just, as we were talking about that, I glanced at your notes for the main event.
Yeah.
And I would like you to take this on, but maybe don't use all the swear words.
I have written quite a few F-bombs.
I like you having notes.
Yeah.
I can sort of see what you're going to say. Preempt my arguments.
Okay, so we had the main event. When they announced this main event, I did an eye roll and did a groan because you could see where this was going. Randy Orton took on Jinder Mahal in a non-title match in the main event. Jinder's from Canada. Clearly he's going to lose. Also, Randy's lost to him 3 times. He's not going to lose to him for a 4th. 50-50 booking. And I was like, oh, God, I'm not going to be happy with this because this is a ridiculous match to book. It's stupid and it damages everyone. And lo and bloody behold, they went and did it. And they kept putting over as well as that Jinder's without the Singh brothers. How was he going to manage now? He's going against the Viper. Great. Okay, so cool. Well, now we know that Jinder is nowhere near as good as Randy Orton. Glad we know that now. That's awesome. Yep, Randy just pinned him clean as an effing sheet in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. So brilliant. Let's just pin your champion. If you want Randy to win, why isn't he champion? Just put the belt on him.
Because that's not good either.
Okay, I know that's not great either, but clearly they're like, do you know what, Randy's so awesome. If you could build a wrestler up from the ground up, you'd beat Randy Orton. Then put the belt on him. If you love him so much, just put the belt on him. Why is Jinder champion? If you think Randy's better, just put the belt on him. Oh, we've got to appeal to the Indian market. Then don't pin him. Don't beat the champion. Have him win. Have him look strong. Make him a hero to the Indian people. This was backward beyond all belief. It was so damaging. Okay, so it's damaging to Jinder because he's champion and he got pinned by someone who's not even gunning for his belt. That's stupid. Utterly ridiculous. It's his first TV loss since winning the belt as well. In a pointless throwaway match. Good job, you. So now Jinder looks like a complete chump 2 weeks before SummerSlam. Awesome. Then you got Randy. How damaging is this to the Randy Orton character? So Randy Orton screwed out of the title 3 different times. And then after he lost the Punjabi prison match where he was once again screwed out the belt, his reaction, his revenge was to handpick Rusev as his opponent for SummerSlam. Cool. That's not a great character development at all, or storytelling for that matter. So then you got this week where they're like, Randy Orton's going to extract his revenge on Jinder. By what? Not winning the title? He's just proven that he can beat him clean as a sheet without the Singh brothers there. Why isn't he going for the championship? Oh no, he's going to face Rusev at SummerSlam. That's stupid. This is stupid for his character. Damaging to Jinder, damaging to Randy, damaging to the championship, damaging to the main event of SummerSlam. Good job. Thumbs up. Well done. It was basically what I wrote in my notes, but there were more F-bombs in there.
I don't know what I can add to that. You put it so eloquently.
It was a glorified squash match, no less. That was the other thing I forgot to mention as well. And they kept saying in the commentary, Jinder's had no offense in this match. Jinder's got nothing. He's had absolutely nothing in this match. Just made him look like a complete chump.
Yeah. Yeah, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. No, I'm fine.
No, I don't really mind though.
It's just wrestling. It's just wrestling, though, isn't it? I'm just gonna wear a T-shirt and the next thing that says "Randy sucks."
So, yeah, I agree with the majority of your points. I did like
The majority.
Yeah, well, I enjoyed the crowd. I did enjoy the atmosphere of the match. I thought it wasn't a squash match. I thought it was quite competitive.
I said it was a glorified.
It was
squash.
intense. It was an intense match. I felt
It's a glorified squash when your opponent doesn't get any offense in.
Yeah.
Or gets barely any offense in.
To play devil's advocate, I can kind of see what I would have preferred Jinder to win, and you're like, holy moly, he is the real deal, and he's going against Nakamura.
Wouldn't that be a great thing?
That would be nice. But I guess from a character perspective, there is another way you can take it. I don't agree with it, but just to play devil's advocate, and that is because he doesn't have the Singh brothers. He's always been an unworthy champion, and when he doesn't have the backup, he loses.
So he is an unworthy champion.
So he's an unworthy champion. It's a way of booking a heel champion.
It's not a good way of booking a heel champion. Unworthy
It
champion.
can work.
Unworthy champions. Name me an unworthy champion that got over.
I don't.
I can give you one. Rey Mysterio.
Oh,
no,
Miz.
no! I tell a lie. No, Miz didn't get over either. Actually,
But
Miz.
as an intercontinental champion, he is.
Oh, that's fine. That's a mid-title belt. But when he was WWE champion, he got over like a fart in a church. He was so under. It was unbelievable. Made worse by the fact they turned him into the third wheel in the Rock Cena feud, which just made him look like even more of a chump. Miz is one of the few people to successfully defend the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, and look where that got him. In a never-ending feud with Dean Ambrose, and now he's facing Jason Jordan. Got him absolutely nowhere. Rey Mysterio, when Reg won the World Heavyweight Championship, do you know what they did? They just beat him like a dog every single week. And do you know what? His title reign just did not get over because everyone saw him as an unworthy champion. Unworthy champions do not get over. If you're trying to appeal to the India market, don't have him look like a complete chump to 1.3 billion people. Those 1.3 billion people, by the way, who aren't buying the network.
So I'm curious where this one goes, actually. Raw versus Smackdown, which one was better? I'm going to say mine first.
Okay.
Because I'm more curious about yours.
Okay.
Because I think overall, Smackdown, you hated both finishes, but I'm pretty confident you hated Smackdown's more. But I don't know where you stand in the shows overall. So I enjoyed Raw more.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to pick Raw. I thought both were like average shows with finishes, but like the ending of SmackDown just made me so mad. Just really got my ire up this morning. I had another cup of tea afterwards.
Just to calm yourself down.
I was so angry because I just think that I just don't understand destructive booking, and that to me was destructive booking. I got really, really angry. So, despite the fact that like SmackDown was pretty much a meaningless show anyway, because there was nothing really coming out of it.
Ellsworth returned.
Aside from the fact that Ellsworth returned, and you had you had the first decent segment between AJ and Owens that made me intrigued in their match. But aside from that, there wasn't really anything on the show. Oh, we didn't talk about the Nakamura backstage.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
that's because there's nothing in it.
Nothing in it. Like, I can't wait for that match now. The fact that neither of them are interacted. Brilliant. Great booking there for the WWE Championship match. But Raw had the really good Dean match, really good Dean Cesaro match.
Really good.
And I love the Dean Seth storyline. And that's driving. And you had the awesome Brock opening. So I'm going Raw this week because there was nothing on that show that made me have another cup of tea and hatred.
And the main event did have its moments. Many moments.
I thought it was the weakest of their brawls, but I really, really enjoyed it because Roman and Braun hitting each other with various objects is always fun to watch.
Well, that's all we've got time for today.
I am sweating.
I don't know why I say that's all we've got time for today, because we obviously have no limit on these shows. This is 90 minutes. It's the new longest one ever. Should we just do a few 5-second poses for people to Photoshop? Did you see some of the Photoshop?
I did.
Someone replaced the background.
Yep.
Excellent.
And the front.
Don't know what you want to put in here, people. I should probably stop moving my mouth.
Yeah.
But that would be dead air. If you vote for which one you thought was better, Raw or SmackDown, in the poll above.
Last week.
I did, and I revealed the result on Friday's news a day late.
I did.
So
I didn't watch Friday's news, which is why I didn't see it. What did win?
Oh God, I think it was SmackDown. Okay. SmackDown was the better show last week.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's all we've got time for today. I'm going to say it again because I'm on autopilot now. Click the videos that have just appeared over Luke's face to catch up with the latest WrestleRamble or WrestleTalk news. Click subscribe, support WrestleTalk on Patreon, and That was Luke Owen, Ollie Davis rambling.
iTunes.
Yeah.